Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So today I am going to be showing you all how I make my lace front units. So I know this has been something y'all have been asking me over and over and over and over again to do. So I'm finally here to do it for you guys. Yeah, sorry it took so long. I'm going to be using Gem Beauty hair from Aliexpress. So I've gotten the Brazilian body wave and I have it in 16 and 16 inches for the frontal, and then I have two 18 and two 20-inch bundles. 4 bundles in all, and I'll show you guys the bundles in a moment. I just want to do like a quick little review for you guys. It's not going to be very long, this part, because we need to get into the actual video of making the wig, but this is the frontal. Look at that. I've not done anything to this frontal except for bleach the knots. So wow, it's got the baby hairs, it's got a thinned out hairline, but it's not too thin at all. It looks amazing. Like, I don't even know if I'm gonna have to do any plucking for this frontal. I mean, we're gonna see, but this looks so good. I obviously have washed the hair. This is its natural pattern once it's dried. So yeah, but y'all, this frontal is, it's got the most amazing density I've seen in a really long time. This is amazing. We're gonna get into the bundles now. These are what the bundles come in looking like. Okay, so I have two 20-inch and two 18-inch bundles. This is what the hair is looking like. So the first thing I'm noticing is that there are a few flyaways here and some breakage near the front, but hopefully this hair will still be thick and, you know, it won't be too much of an issue. I don't mind if, you know, the hair has a few pieces of breakage, but I don't like it to be excessive, obviously. But, you know, I don't think it's too bad. It's not the worst I've seen, so I'm gonna go with it. It's not too bad. So this is the 18-inch. The hair does look really pretty though. This is what the bundle is looking like. I think it's a pretty decent size for the length. This is the 18-inch bundle. This is the 18-inch hair. So that's my, you know, my little review. The hair does have a few pieces of breakage. It's nothing too excessive. It's nothing like too out of the ordinary, but it is something that I did notice. So, you know. Anyway, hopefully the hair will hold up okay, regardless. Now we're going to go ahead and start this video on how I make my wigs. So, when making a frontal wig, the first thing you want to make sure is that your frontal is not too dense. That's one of the things that really threw me off the first time I made a frontal wig. The density was it was just way too dense. The hair was there was too much hair in the frontal. Obviously you don't want any bald spots in your frontal. You don't want your frontal to be too thin, but you definitely don't want it to be too thick either, because it makes it really difficult to lay it flat. It makes it difficult to make it look natural. And that's obviously the point of having a frontal, is so that you don't have to use your own hair out in the front, and so it can look as natural as it can. I'm not a perfectionist, but I don't like my stuff to look wrong, you know. I don't like it to look jank. So if it's too thick in the frontal, I tend to pluck more. Obviously, I try to pluck and thin out the frontal. But one thing to keep in mind, and I'll get this when I actually start customizing the frontal, one thing that you do not want to do is pluck throughout your frontal, because that leads to tons and tons and tons of shedding. Obviously you don't want that. That's a problem I've had in the past. I don't do that anymore. Even if the frontal is more dense than I like, I don't touch, you know, I don't pluck everything in the frontal. I only pluck the hairline. Only pluck the hairline, guys. If you pluck throughout the entire frontal, you're gonna have tons of shedding. You're gonna have tons and tons of just like, gonna be tangling, it's gonna be shedding. It's just not gonna be pretty. When you're looking at reviews and looking at the frontals, make sure that you're getting a frontal that's the density that you want. So the wig cap that I use is the Make Your Own Wig caps by the Stylist Collections. This is what it looks like. Okay, I'm sure they have them in other brands, but usually they come in like a more general size. This one This brand actually has a petite head size, it has a regular head size, and it has an extra large, which is what I use for my head, because my head is, it's not huge, but it's not like regular size, so I like to use the extra large one for myself. If you're planning on making wigs for other people, you know, make sure that you're getting measurements of their head, you guys. You don't want to be giving people a wig that's too big or too small. Make sure that you are getting those measurements. There's a lot in making a wig that you will learn, honestly, just from experience, so I'm not going to be able to share everything just because it would take me forever. There's a lot of things that you just learn from experience, so I might not go over everything, but I hope that I can cover the basics so that you guys are able to do this on your own. And like, trust me, the first wig I made was horrendous. It was absolutely terrible. It had all kinds of problems. It was too small for my head. It was just awful. But you learn from your mistakes, and then you make adjustments, and you know, eventually you'll be amazing at it. But I just wanted to throw that out there. If I, you know, miss something, or if you do this at home and then you have a mistake, I'm sorry. You know, I'm not going to be able to, like, tell you guys everything just because there's a lot to it. That, honestly, it just comes from experience, and it's a learning process. Alright, so this is what the wig cap looks like. Alright. I almost never use the adjustable straps here. I usually just cut them off. These right here, these are adjustable straps. I usually just like cut them off. They're not very helpful to me. They serve no purpose, honestly. I always attach an elastic band, so my own elastic band, so these don't do much of anything. So the first thing that I do before anything is I take some little pins here, and I always pin down the cap onto my mannequin head. So I'm just going to pin it down on both sides. Make sure that it's like stretched all the way. And then I bring this part down, and I make sure that it's secure as well. Alright, so you want to make sure that it's laying nice and flat over the surface of your mannequin head or your wig block or whatever. So the first thing I do is I always sew down my frontal first. So I'm just going to flop it on real quick. I'm actually going to go ahead and pin this down on the mannequin head as well, and then I'm going to like put all the hair up in a ponytail, and then we're just going to sew it on. I want to make sure that it's nice and centered and everything. If it's not centered, it's honestly not that big of a deal, but you just want to get it as close to being centered as you can. Alright, and then I'm just going to take a pin here, and I'm going to secure the frontal down on each side. And make sure you also pin the back. Of the wig as well. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and take the hair and just throw it up in a little bun here, just to get the hair out of the way, so when we sew, I'm not like sewing down any hair. Alright, and that way we can see the whole back side of the funnel, and this is where we are going to start sewing. I'm going to put a few more pins just to secure it even more. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to measure how long I need my first piece to be. So I always start my track above where the straps are. And you're just gonna measure it across. Alright, so I need a piece that's about this long, and I'm just gonna cut. It's about this long, and I'm just gonna cut right here. And then we're just gonna begin sewing. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna place the hair up against where you are going to sew it on. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna pin it so that it doesn't fall. And this way it's easier to sew down. Alright guys, so now I'm going to actually take these pins down and I'm going to scoot the wig back because I've done like the first few bottom rows, and then we're going to start sewing the rest of the wig. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we've got this U-shape structure for now, but I'm going to change it up a bit since we're getting closer and closer to the back side of the frontal. I want to make sure that everything's going to line up properly. So what I'm going to start doing from this point on is I'm going to be laying the tracks. Instead of in the U-shape form, I'm going to start laying the tracks across this way. And I'm just going to keep laying the tracks until I get to the back edge of the frontal. Alright, and for the last weft, I'm going to make sure that it is right up against the back of the frontal. So as you can see, I'm placing it right up against there, right up against the edge of the frontal. I'm going to flip it over to the opposite side. I'm going to try to get all of the styrofoam out. And this is my wig, so it's really no big deal to me to have styrofoam in the wig. Anyway, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look on the bottom side of the lace, and you're going to see this extra mesh material. Obviously, we don't want this there, so we're just going to cut this off. Make sure that you give yourself some space. So I'm going to actually cut maybe 1 millimeter away from where the stitching is. Okay, so I'm going to probably cut along this area here. Not right on the stitching. You're going to give yourself about 1 millimeter of room. Alright, so there you go. Alright, you guys, and that is pretty much how I make my wigs. So now what we're going to do is we're going to pluck the hairline, which I will have a separate video on how I pluck my hairlines. This one has not been plucked, and honestly I'm not going to have to pluck much of it, but I will be showing you guys a video on how I pluck a very dense hairline. So if you're interested in that video, stay tuned. I should have that video along with this video, so just stay tuned for that. But yeah, this is the finished wig. So thank you so much for watching, you guys, and hopefully I'll see you soon.